Let's stay on election-related matters as the Independent Electoral Commission prepares for elections later this year. Of course, the Commission is also having to deal with apparent threats of violence during the polls. So this week, uMkhonto weSizwe party leader in KwaZulu-Natal, Visvin Reddy, said there would be anarchy if the party were excluded from the ballot paper. For more on this now, we're joined on the line via link, of course, to the IEC Deputy Chief Electoral Officer, Masego Shiburi. Mr. Shiburi, thank you very much for your time. Indeed, good morning to you. So are there any grounds for concern as a result of what we heard this past week? Any grounds for concern regarding violence as we head to the elections on the 29th of May?
Good morning, Griselda. Violence or threats of violence should not have any space in a democratic society. All of us, media included, should call those things out wherever quarters they emanate from. At the point the statement attributable to the leader or a member of that party were made, nomination had not closed, so there was no basis to make those statements that the commission had or intended to exclude a party from the ballot because candidate nomination had not closed. Also, threats of violence do not have space in a democratic society if you consider that there are avenues for recourse if a party is aggrieved by the decision of the commission. The decision of the commissions are reviewable, they can be appealed at the Electoral Court. So there should not really be a grounds for people to threaten violence if they are unhappy with perceived or real decisions of the commission.
Look, I think I'd seen somewhere that the party itself had distanced itself from these utterances that were made. As the IEC, are you investigating this matter at all? Are you investigating whether there should be a sanction against the MK party?
The stance of the Commission is to first deal with issues via conciliatory means, and only once those have failed will the Commission then take other measures. In terms of jurisprudence and case law, the Commission may investigate such issues, and if it forms a view that there may have been a contravention of the Code of Conduct, the Commission must refer that matter to the Electoral Court, which court exists to hear election-related matters. And that court, if it finds that indeed there's been a contravention of electoral laws or the Code of Conduct, that court may mete out sanctions that may include, among others, in severe cases, the disqualification of a party, disregarding the votes cast for that party, or barring that party from using public media for purposes of campaigning. For now, there is no investigation. The Commission is not considering any action because it is yet to meet with the leadership of that political party.
But you've been in contact at all with anyone from the party? Have you raised your concerns at all with the party as yet? Hence, you say you're scheduled to meet. Is it the leadership of that party?
As a matter of course, once parties have met the requirements to contest, especially parties that are contesting for the first time, the Commission thinks it owes them a duty to information and to education. So we'll meet with all parties that have met the requirements to contest, to alert them about their responsibility as registered parties first, but also as parties that would have met the requirements to contest, and also inform them of the applicability of the Code of Conduct on them from the date on which the elections had been called. That, however, does not mean that the party is absolved from wrongdoing if wrongdoing is detected. Anyone, including a Joe public, may approach the Electoral Court to ask the court to mete out the sanctions that the court is competent to do in law. On our part, we will await those meetings once we have confirmed the candidature of that party for these elections.
And yesterday had been the deadline for political parties to meet certain requirements in order for them to contest in the upcoming elections. Are you busy with the adjudication process at the moment? Where is that process before we know who exactly has met the threshold?
Indeed, at 5 o'clock yesterday was a cut-off time for parties that intend to contest this election to submit their documents. And it is worth repeating, one, that a party that intends to be on the ballot paper must have by yesterday submitted its list of candidates, must have by 1700 hours have paid a deposit for the elections it wishes to contest. And if that party is not one of the 14 parties currently represented in the National Assembly or in a legislature, that party additionally ought to have submitted proof that it has acquired the signatures of the requisite number of voters who support its standing and have uploaded those signatures on a candidate nomination. Failure to meet those foundational conditions will result in a party being disqualified. So if a party has not submitted a list, has not paid a deposit, and if it is unrepresented, has not submitted signatures by 1700 hours yesterday, that party will not be on the ballot for this election. We are currently seized with checking all submissions for compliance. By the 18th, we will give notices to all parties indicating if their documents are compliant, and if they need to amend anything, we will alert them. By the 18th, they will have 2 days to respond. And after that, we'll also alert all parties and independent candidates if they appear on more than one party list. For example, Party X nominates Masego and Party Z also nominates Masego, or Party X nominates Masego and he also stands as an independent candidate. We'll alert those parties and they'll have 2 days to indicate to us whether they retain that candidate or they remove them from their candidate list. A key milestone will be on the 26th and the 27th of March, where we will open the list of parties for inspections, including the supporting document, so that anyone who wants to raise an objection against the candidate may do so by the 27th of March.
There's an area of concern just overnight. We saw there'd been a leak regarding the list of the African National Congress, and an area of concern. I understand that this leak came from the IEC. Could you confirm that for us first? And how was this even able to happen? We've started inquiries, and the preliminary indications are that the unauthorized disclosure has all the hallmarks of reports generated on the internal administrative systems of the Electoral Commission. So we can almost exclude a breach of security or breach of data from outside. So we think the disclosure, unauthorized, was done by one of our staff members. As I said, the Commission has authorized an inquiry to try to trace the circumstances under which the list was disclosed, and the identity of person or persons who may have been culpable for the release of that list. We have also reported that unauthorized disclosure to the information regulator as required by the Personal Protection of Personal Information Act, because the list contains personal information of data subjects. Yeah, Mr. Shiburi, this is very concerning, because anyone, I guess, sitting at home would say, how is this able to happen from inside the Independent Electoral Commission? And what about the vetting of staff that are dealing with such crucial information? And we know what the terrain usually looks like ahead of elections, where the credibility of the IEC and people working there cannot be brought into question as one heads to such a crucial election. This is very serious.
Indeed, the Commission views it in a very serious light, and that's why the Commission has authorized an inquiry to understand the circumstances, the intent behind that disclosure, so that appropriate actions can be taken. As we became aware of the breach overnight, we have further limited the number of people who have access to those reports. The number was always limited, but we further limited it so that we safeguard against any other additional unauthorized disclosures.
Masego Shiburi, the IEC Deputy Chief Electoral Officer, thank you very much indeed for your time. We do appreciate. I'm sure we'll be speaking to you in the coming weeks, of course, as we head to the country's elections. Of course, the IEC in charge of that process, confirming here on the program that that leak of the ANC list had come from inside its offices. It's investigating that matter at the moment. It is trying to track down the individual and try to understand what the circumstances were that resulted in the leak of this list. The IEC saying it views it in a very serious light, in particular because, of course, any leak within the IEC at this particular time, of course, anyone, I guess, sitting at home would want to question the credibility of the IEC and how it will manage these elections if you have a leak from within.